This is Solo P1. Welcome to F1 Flaming Tarmac, episode 74. And yes, we are back. And I am glad F1 is back. So, anybody listening to the podcast, iTunes, Amazon, Stitcher, you know what to do. You remember to recommend it, leave feedback, recommend it to your family or friends. So, I'm going to bring in my Coke, who's my partner in crime, Toto. Abba. Big up, Toto. How's it going, bro? I know we just did a video of the football one. We're going to be talking about the F1 weekend, Austrian Grand Prix, one of my favorite tracks. Very entertaining tracks. A lot of overtakes. I will be playing on that game later on F1, playing on the, Austria. What do you think about the F1 weekend, and how you doing, bro? How are you doing?
Yeah, doing well, man.
5 minutes ago.
Doing well. Of course, happy with all the Liverpool signings.
Yo.
I'm happy about the F1 weekend come forward. Feels like ages since the last F1 weekend.
Yeah.
I
know.
Since there's no football on.
It's going to start brewing up now, though, isn't it?
But yeah, the title's getting more interesting for F1 regarding Lando and Piastri.
I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, the F1. It depends who you are. But yeah, we love F1 on here. We're F1 fans. This is how the channel started with doing Formula 1. And we'll continue to do it because we just love Formula 1. So, the big weekend, I'm not going to really talk about the Canadian Grand Prix. We know what happened there. Let's talk about this weekend. It's going to be a very good weekend. It's a battle of Piastri versus Lando Norris. They are going to go to war. This is from the paddock insider. We know what happened at the Canadian Grand Prix where Lando Norris shouldn't have went for that move, and then he got clipped, and then he was out the race. Lost a lot of points that day. For me, he should have just stayed behind Piastri and settled for the big points. But look, it's a driver. You know, you're a driver. What happens when you're in a race? Sometimes you don't think, you just want to go for there's a gap. You want to go for it. So, Toto, what was your thoughts briefly on what happened with Lando Norris at Canadian Grand Prix briefly?
Well, look, overall, I thought, where did Lando finish again in Canada?
He didn't finish DNF.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, that crash.
When he went for that move, remember?
It was identical to the Jenson Button one back in the day, when Jenson Button was in McLaren and both McLarens collided. The same straight and the same exact moment, the same exact spot where they crashed as well. It was ironic, but to me, I think Lando should have been bought a bit more smarter.
Yeah.
You went for a gap that weren't there. It weren't Piastri's fault at all. Piastri closed the gap before even Lando decided to take the gap. There was not even one wheel was inside that gap. No car really. He should have went around the outside. There's a bigger gap around the outside. He should have took the smart route. Either stay behind him or take the outside, because that outside line converts into an inside anyway in turns 1 and 2. Because it comes around the outside and then you go in, and then when it hits turn 2, the outside line turns into an inside. I
wouldn't have went for it. I would have just.
You should have took the outside.
I know what you're saying. Personally, in my opinion, he should have just chilled and went for the and just settled for the I think he was second. There was fighting for 1 and 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
So why didn't he just stay as number 2? But exactly. Again, you can't ask the driver that. I know.
Look, the constructors is done. No doubt about that.
I know. I want to,
McLaren. But Norris should have took the outside or just stayed behind Piastri, because that gap weren't there. No chance.
This is what I'm trying to say. The gap wasn't there. So, but sometimes you can't always. For me, I said it a couple of weeks ago. I blame it on the team. The team should have said, Norris, stay behind Piastri. That's it. Simple as. That's what you should have done. Okay? That's what the team. But what the team did was nothing. And for me, that's what caused it. If the team would have just been straight and said, listen, Piastri stays there, or Norris was clearly the fastest. Okay? So what they should have done is let Norris see. Let's see if that he can catch first place. Because I forgot how it finished. I don't think it was 1 and 2. I think he won the race. What's his name? Russell won the race. So what they should have done is, if Norris was faster, they should have said, look, Norris, try and catch Russell. Exactly. And if you can't, give the place back. But they never done nothing, huh?
Rosberg said it before, that why don't you just swap them over?
Yeah.
And towards the end, swap them back again if things don't work out.
But there was no communication from the team. The team was quiet. This is what I'm saying. The team was quiet, but they never done nothing. That's what caused it. If the team would have just said, or the team also could have said, okay, stay as you are. You're coming second. Norris is coming third. Leave it at that. Take the points. But they never. There was no communication. They let them do what they want. And if you let F1 drivers do what they want without any orders, this is what happens. This is what happens. If you don't say nothing to the F1 drivers, they're going to go for it because it's in their DNA. As a driver, you're going to go for everything you can. But I blame it on the team. For me, I blame it on the team. Rosberg was said the right thing. But that was Canadian Grand Prix. That's done. That's in the past. Let's talk about Austria. What has been going on with George Russell? George Russell came out. This is when you know he's done with Mercedes. Because for him to come out and say this, you know he's done with Mercedes. There's something's going on in the back. George Russell says Mercedes talks with Max Verstappen are delaying his contract. So Russell obviously wants to stay with Mercedes. Okay, he wants to stay with Mercedes, but he said his contract is being delayed because of the talks with Max Verstappen and Mercedes.
I think
what's your thoughts on this?
Russell's worried about his future in Mercedes. I reckon he did say in the interview today is that he has no concerns. But when a driver says that, they are worried about their future. I just think Max Verstappen won't be a good option for Mercedes. The way Max Verstappen's ego is, he probably want all the best stuff, the best car. You know, this like look how he's treated at Red Bull. Best car, best engineers. He's got the best upgrades and everything like that. Look at Tsunoda. What has he done realistically at Red Bull? Nothing.
I don't care about myself. I don't care about.
No, I'm on about like how Verstappen's being treated.
I'm talking about Russell now. Russell, with Russell, yeah, I think the dynamics is wrong. If they bring Mercedes, if they bring Max Verstappen into Mercedes with Kimi Antonelli, he's going to mess up the dynamics. I think Russell is perfect for Kimi Antonelli. Russell is not going to try and push the envelope. He's going to look at him. He's going to try and nurture him and see with the next big thing, because Russell's that kind of guy. I know obviously Russell's going to look after his own brand, but for bringing in Max Verstappen, he's a disturber. Max Verstappen is a disturber, and if Max Verstappen is coming into Mercedes, I think it's going to hamper Kimi Antonelli's progress, in my opinion, because we all know what Kimi Antonelli is. They've been talking about him for so long. They've been saying he's the next Max Verstappen. Now, if he's supposed to be the next Max Verstappen, and you're bringing in Max Verstappen, and you know how big, like you said, you can see how big Max Verstappen's ego is. I think it's a mistake. I think you should offer Russell a new contract and let Max go to Aston Martin. I saw this coming a few years ago. There was rumors about him going to Mercedes. I talked to other people about it. They everyone said, nah, they'll never have Max at Mercedes. And I said, money talks. Money talks. Don't trust Toto. Don't think Toto's reliable. You remember when Lewis got screwed in Abu Dhabi 2021? What was Thingy doing? He was partying that same night, partying, and he said, I was celebrating the constructors. That he never went to the arbitration court, to the F1 of arbitration. The option was there to challenge the decision what happened at Abu Dhabi 2021, and he never did it. So for me, I don't know how you feel, but
because regarding that Abu Dhabi situation, even Marco Masi said it was a human error. Yeah. So realistically, Toto should have went over there.
Even before that, though.
Even the safety car rules as well. They should have let the lap cars do a whole lap during the end of the safety car. It should have ended on the safety car. Yeah. There's so many stuff that Mercedes and Toto Wolff, team principal, could have reported. But he never. He'd rather go party and celebrate the constructors' title, which is fair enough because he's more focused on the constructors' title. But that's your main driver there. That's your main driver, Lewis Hamilton. That's the Lewis Hamilton that has been helping you to constructors and the driver's title. That's been giving you bonuses. Yeah. Your driver, and you need to be backing your driver, and he never backed his driver.
I know. Okay.
But look, my overall situation on this, George Russell's worried for his future. Huh? George Russell's worried for his future.
Yeah.
And I think Max will go to Mercedes in 2026.
I'm not sure. It's debatable. It's debatable. I did mention it a few of last year that there's a chance that he might go there, but he's also linked to Aston Martin, and the Aston Martin man, he's going to throw big numbers at Max Verstappen. Plus, Adrian Newey's at Aston Martin as well.
Yeah.
They spoke to people say, "Oh, what about Alonso?" Alonso, I think after next year he's going to retire. He's going to leave for Formula One because he was saying he's definitely going to do another year, which he's contracted to do next year. And he said after next year, he's going to see how he feels, if he's going to still have the passion. When a driver usually say that, he's on the way out. He's on the way out. So I think Aston Martin will be pushing for Max Verstappen as well. He'll probably be the highest Formula One paid driver because you know that they're going to throw big numbers at him. But I believe if he does go to Mercedes, I think it's a big mistake. I think Toto, it was a big mistake bringing in George Russell when Bottas was there. I thought George Russell could have waited a couple more years, but they brought in Russell and it disturbed Hamilton, and they're going to do this again. They got Kimi Antonelli. They're going to bring in Max Verstappen if they do, and it'll disturb him. They're making the wrong calls. I'm telling you that Mercedes are making the wrong calls. So let's finish off this article to George Russell in the final year of his contract with Mercedes, but the Brit suggested Mercedes' pursuit of Max Verstappen is delaying a new contract with his new deal. Watch every session, right? So it's clearly saying that. Russell has been outstanding driver on the grid with this season, consistently appearing to maximise the performance of his Mercedes to claim victory last time in Canada, along with 4 podium finishes before that. The fact that Mercedes have not extended the 27-year-old's contract, which expires at the end of the season, along with the teenage teammate Kimi Antonelli 1-year deal, has been a surprise to many in the paddock. So Kimi Antonelli has got 1-year deal left as well. So obviously, they're going to keep Kimi Antonelli. Toto has been, he's been on Toto's list of Kimi Antonelli since he was younger. Paid for all his karting, paid for all his driving stuff. They're not going to get rid of Kimi Antonelli. He's going to be there to stay. But Mercedes have got a big decision to make. They've got a big decision to make. And I believe they should go with George Russell. I think George Russell is a good driver. For me, he's better than Max Verstappen. He's cleaner than Max Verstappen. He's very fast. You saw when he was like with Lewis Hamilton, when him and Lewis was going neck and neck. I know Lewis Hamilton is at the end of his career now, toward the end of his career, but he was still out qualifying him. He was still beating him in a lot of races as well. So the talent is there. The talent is there.
Russell is less likely to crash the car and crash out in multiple situations, and that will put less stress on the engineers.
Exactly.
Because if the car gets destroyed, it's more money that the team have to spend, the more work the engineers will have to work on the car to fix it and all that. It just puts more stress, because engineers hate when drivers crash out, because the amount of work they have to do on the car is unbelievable. Yeah, it's easy for them, but it's hard work still. Yeah, and I think if Max goes there, his will.
I'm not sure about it's about crashing the car.
His will-to-will battles always end up in a crash, or
calamity,
or just always ends up the FIA to give him penalty. So I don't think it's the right fit for Mercedes. Nowhere near.
I just think it's like I don't see when I see Max, I don't see him just crashing into his teammate, but I see him as a disturber.
Yeah,
he's a disturber, and I think Kimi Antonelli at this point of his career, he doesn't need that. He doesn't need a disturber. You get me? So let's bring this article up quick for people who listen to the audio. I'm just going over the paddock insider. Piastri and Norris ready for battle in Austria. McLaren hopes for no crashes. That's the article I'm reading from F1 Insider. If you want to go and read that, I suggest it's a very good article. It's linked to F1, and Lawrence Barretto is the presenter of this. So I'm going to go through what it says. The Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri cut relaxed figures when they arrived at the Red Bull Ring on Thursday for the Austria Grand Prix, a little under 2 weeks after the collision in Canada. Norris immediately admitted his mistake after he ran into the back of his McLaren's teammate car. So he at least admitted it straight away. It was his, but I blame the team. So Piastri was the first past the media through his appearance, official press conference. Naturally, his subjects dominated the half of the hour session, as being the case throughout F1 without his time in F1. So basically, there was discussion with him regarding it. Obviously, they're going to say they're going to move on from it and nothing's going to happen. But let's fingers crossed that they don't crash. At least Lando Norris admitted it on this picture. You can see that they're enjoying it, being friends. But, it's probably for the media. but we'll see what happens on the track. This track is definitely a track where you can crash into, especially that first turn. You know, when you go up by the Nicolada Hill and it turns off, a lot of drivers there, you know, Toto, when you go to Austria, and you got that steep hill and then there's a little turning, a lot of drivers crash there.
Yeah, dude. Every time you go to
happened
Austria,
over the years.
There's always carnage, lock-ups going into the corner.
Yeah.
Especially turn 1, it's very, very tight. Turn 2, tight as well.
Yeah.
The big runoff area, which majority of the drivers take because not a lot of the cars can go wheel to wheel there.
Yeah.
3 wide or 4 wide, whatever. So most of the cars, if you go 3 wide, one car's at least going off in the runoff area, which shows lots of action. There's 3 DRS zones on this track, so there's going to be a lot of overtakes, a lot of chances to overtake, a lot of chances to gain speed. So as long as you're in DRS range, you'll be fine, really. So I reckon it's going to be a close race.
You remember that crash what happened with Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc a couple of years ago as well.
Yeah.
Nico Rosberg, Hamilton as well.
Yeah.
And so Austria is a very, very good track. Very good
thing
track.
is, pit stops are going to be key to get a gap on someone. The undercut's going to be powerful here.
I'm not sure if the undercut. I'm not sure if the undercut's powerful here.
Or the overcut could be good as well. I think the overcut would be good because drivers will be more focused on gaining time while out there, while someone's in the pit. So the probably overcut could work, or even the undercut. I think the undercut would be powerful, in my opinion here.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Because the pit stops are going to be really, really vital to gain a good gap, because there's lots of DRS zones.
Yeah, you're right.
There'll be some overtaking opportunities.
So go on.
Mercedes might struggle as well, because Mercedes are more used to the slow speed corners.
Yeah.
And of course they're not good for hot temperatures as well. As soon as them hot temperatures hit, because there's regarding the forecast,
they don't tend to like the high temperatures at Mercedes.
So they're not good at tyre calling. Ferrari's brought in new floor upgrades, and they might be looking good for this, and they've won it previous years as well.
I've lost faith in Ferrari.
Ferrari usually do good here, so hopefully they have a good weekend.
I've lost faith in Ferrari. They need to show more.
And
I don't understand why they've completely had a new car for this season when the next season is going to be a new concept.
Yeah.
They're the only team that's done that now. All the other teams have kept the same concept car, but with this year, Ferrari is the only team that changed the whole car, which I think, and it obviously hasn't worked. They've been using all these new upgrades and they keep going back to the old concept. So it's been a complete utter disaster, a waste of money.
Well, hopefully the floor upgrades work, because
Ferrari were better last season. They should have stayed with the car last season, and what they should have done, they should have just worked on the new car in 2026. Because they're slower now, so it just doesn't make sense. But it is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is.
Floor upgrade could be good though, because it can avoid the scrub going through the corners and the apexes.
Yeah, but they had the new thing last time. They had the new floor, the last Grand Prix. They had the new rear wing. They had the new front wing.
Suspension as well.
And it never done nothing. But
Mercedes had suspension. Ferrari didn't have suspension now.
Let's fingers crossed that Ferrari do well. Yeah. But I haven't really got, they need to show me more before I start having faith in them, innit? But it is what it is.
I reckon they can do good this week. They'll always do good here, Ferrari.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah. I'll give you that one. When it comes to Austrian Grand Prix, they'll do good, and sometimes they do bad as well. Remember that
for Russell as well.
Remember that one with Carlos Sainz when he got stuck on the hill, he started going on fire the car, and he was just going backwards. Remember that one?
Yeah,
they do good, but sometimes they do bad as well. But
Russell's going to be good here as well. Even though Mercedes,
McLaren's going to be the best.
Mercedes is not going to be the best here, but Russell's going to be good.
Nah. I think Antonelli's going to be good as well. Antonelli was all right in that Canadian Grand Prix.
Russell's won here before.
Yeah, but you remember the last Grand Prix? Antonelli come second, didn't he? He got the second place, didn't he, Antonelli?
Yeah.
And that's why the two McLaren cars were closing on him. And you remember when they had the black markers were there? They got in the way. Antonelli got that second place. We got to him. I think Antonelli will be there as well. If the Mercedes car does good here, I know Russell will be there, but I think Antonelli will be there as well. But I also think that McLaren's going to do very good as well, because when it comes to these little, the corners that they got at Austria, they always do good there. This is going to be a McLaren track. It's going to be McLaren versus Mercedes, and obviously Red Bull will be thereabout, because remember, this is Red Bull's one of their home tracks, and they want to do good here. You get me, in front of the Orange Army, whatever. So we're heading off now. Remember, practice session starts tomorrow at 12 p.m. UK time. So that will be on Sky Sports F1. I will be doing a watch along tomorrow as well. So Bear, it's gonna have like the virtual watch along, the virtual map and everything. So you can join us on the channel for that. So, but we're heading off, Toto. Episode 74 in the bag. Flaming Tarmac. You want to say anything before we do one?
I don't find very else to say. I'd say podcast listeners. Of course, there'll be more uploaded onto podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, whatever. All getting uploaded. And keep listening, man. Because
I think the ones that get uploaded is the debriefs. So if you're watching this, remember, guys, the ones that get uploaded now are the race reviews, not like last year where it was these. It's the race reviews. So everything will be on iTunes. Will be the race reviews. So that'd be better for you than we're just doing this Flaming Tarmac. But our Flaming Tarmac will be back next week with episode 75, and we are heading off. Thank you very much, iTunes and Stitcher listeners, and thank you very much, YouTube listeners as well. Big up to everybody. See you later, guys. Bye. See you, Toto.
Big up.
Boom.
On the brakes.